Hello, welcome to ALW Collectibles. Today we're jumping back into the world of professional wrestling, one of my favorite things, old school pro wrestling, and we are taking a look at the World Wrestling Federation European Heavyweight Championship. The belt that was never supposed to be. And this belt has a history behind it. Rather great men held this title. A lot of great men, I should say, held this title, who went on to become multiple world champions, and a lot of mid-card champions were elevated with this belt. Taking a look, it is a very nice design. Of course, mine is on a green strap, which we'll get into that because that's actually part of the many variants of this belt. I do apologize ahead of time. The ring light does blur this thing out really bad. So we're going to be turning the ring light on and off tonight. And the issue I have with these things is between the turntable and the balancing, it's just not really happy with me. So we'll take a more in-depth look at all the plates on this thing. Really, really cool. We're going to do a little information, look at a little details. First thing we're going to take a look at, we're going to turn this ring light off for you. So you get a better look at the belt without any interruptions. The European title was active. It debuted on February 26, 1997 and was retired July 22nd, 2002. The very first champion to win the tournament to crown the champion was the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith from England, who was a European country, of course. And out of the history of the title, there's actually only two men from Europe who actually held this title. And they were the British Bulldog and Lord Steven Regal, or Steven Regal, depending on what you call him. The final champion, a record, was supposed to be Jeff Hardy. The title was lost in a unification match to Rob Van Dam. So I look at him as the actual champion, last champion. But if you look at the official list, Jeff Hardy was the final holder of the title. So that's just a quick rundown of just the longevity and the title holders. Many great men held this belt. Triple H, Matt, Jeff Hardy, D'Lo Brown, Jeff Jarrett, Mark Henry, Shawn Michaels, another great name that held this title. Of course, the British Bulldog, Sean Waltman, X-Pac, 123 Kid, whatever you want to call him. He held this championship belt. Shane McMahon actually held the championship for a while. So many names, I could go on and on. Really cool. So the one I have is actually a hybrid belt, and we're going to get into the variations of this belt, and it was a lot. But before we do that, let's take a look at some of the plate design. You can see we got two sets of wrestlers. One guy's got him in a headlock in over here, and then we got a bear hug over here. Really cool looking designs. I love the way this thing really looks. And there is no latitude or longitude lines in here. This is a etched, what do they call that? Sorry. Hollowed out lettering, which is going to come in important in a minute. And you have the European flags on the side. And a couple of the flags I recently learned are actually inverted. So when they were painted in, the colors were swapped. I don't remember exactly which ones, but I know they're actually even on this belt because I checked when I looked at it. And I love this, how this looks like a family crest from Europe, in my opinion, because you got the designs on the sides of the main plate. Take this off the strap for a minute. And what I like is you have the bear hug here, and you have the bear hug here. You have the headlock on this side, and you have the headlock on this side. So the plates match the main plate. And on the back, it's just the crest, World Wrestling Federation with the WWF logo. The property plate was unique for the Attitude Era in the beginning because it had the sideways WWF logo, European Heavyweight Champion. And of course mine has a black backing to it. And of course mine, I'm always honest, they had an issue when they did it. The first time I snapped it up, those popped right off, sadly. And it does have a tip on it. So this is the back of the belt, and you can see the green color on that strap now. Looks really sharp. And like I said, it's a belt that should have never existed, because what happened with the history of this belt is, at the time, the World Wrestling Federation was not looking to make a secondary second title. And a very famous belt maker nowadays called Joe Marshall, created this belt, sent it to the WWF without telling them, to show them his work. And when they received it, they liked his belt so much, they actually introduced it on television. So that shows initiative, and like I said, I've seen some of Joe Marshall's work. Phenomenal belt maker. Awesome. Looks fantastic. He made a lot of the famous belts. He made the Oval IC title, the Big Attitude Winged Eagle belt. Beautiful belt designs. Try to get the glare off some of these plates, without falling over. Really, really nice. I love the color choices with this, with the red backing. Invoked a lot of old school memories. I was talking about the variations. The very first belt that debuted on TV with the British Bulldog actually had this lettering here, hollowed out like mine is, with a black strap. So it looked really cool. I always fell in love with it on the green strap, so I got mine on the green strap. The second variation actually had the green strap, but this was all filled in. It said World Wrestling Federation. It was not hollowed out like this. So I have a hybrid belt. Still really nice. And of course the third one was once again on the black strap with the WWF Scratch logo. And then the fourth one was the black strap Scratch logo with this hollowed lettering with white paint. So a couple variations, and then there was going to be a nameplate version where these flags had been moved, but it was never finished. So, interesting history behind this belt, and one of my favorite championships. I call it, like I said, the belt that should have never been. Really nice. Just kills me with the ring light, just kills this thing so bad with the glare. There we go. Beautiful looking championships. And nothing but praise for Joe Marshall. Fantastic belt maker. He made a beautiful design with this. And of course, this is a knockoff. I always announce that on my videos at some point. This is a knockoff belt, an internet purchase title. And you can find them everywhere. But again, some of the quality, this is beautiful because it's very reminiscent. I didn't realize when I got it, it was a hybrid belt. But now that I know that, it even makes it more special to me. Because I think this looks really cool. Yeah. So in the comments below, if you remember the European Heavyweight Championship, tell me who your favorite European champion is. Another man that held this belt that's very famous, by the way, he held it for one day, was Chris Jericho. And Jeff Jarrett both have one-day reigns each as the European Heavyweight Champions. So it was an interesting title. A lot of history, a lot of lineage. Sadly, they did away with it. I really think it could have progressed. Or they could have done, if they think about it, because they finally did with NXT, they did the UK version. They could have had a WWF European division, and this could have been the main belt. But we all have our opinions. I personally love the belt. I think it looks fantastic. It was sad to see it go away. But things happen. And we have everything falling. Alright. And I leave all this in so you can see that I am not a professional at this. Alright. Having said all that, this has been ALW. If you like what you see, hit the like button, subscribe if you wish. Comments are always welcome. I want to say thank you to all my channel members and subscribers. And I especially want to say thank you to my wife when she actually catches this video. She actually chose this belt for me to do, because I had a couple belts in mind, and she picked this one, and I'm glad she did, because I like it. I really enjoy this belt. I think it looks really beautiful. That's why it was in that list. And I would love if they could ever resurrect it. But just do it the justice it deserves. Having said all that, this has been ALW. You have a good day.